Welcome to the LaRocque Life Podcast, where we talk about relationships, adventure, freedom, just some all-around real and raw conversations. I'm Mike LaRocque. I got my lovely wife Laura with me.
Hey guys, how is it going?
It's going good.
Okay, just like a forewarning, I don't know. I feel really silly today.
Yeah, no, it's good. We need it. Today is our season finale.
Just like dun-dun-dun.
I don't have it.
You have to make it be like the reveal a little more intense than that.
Season finale. Yeah, okay.
No, that wasn't it.
Okay, well, whatever. Anyway, here we are, episode 25. Pretty jacked up.
And it's our season finale.
If you didn't know. Anyway, people are going to be glad. Fuck, I'm sick of these people. What are we going to talk about today?
Well, we kind of just wanted to, wrap this up a little bit and talk about a few of the things we've learned about 25 weeks of podcasting.
Yep.
And I was going to say we've podcasted for 25 weeks straight, but we actually haven't. It's actually been 25 podcasts in 27 weeks.
Right.
Because we did miss those two, which we talked about a few weeks back with chronic pain.
Yeah.
So, but 27 weeks, we've been officially podcasters and we have 25 episodes out there. So it's crazy. Mm-hmm. But we're just going to talk a little bit about that and really about just kind of like freaking going for it, right? Like, yeah. Taking risks, no matter like we're going to associate it with our podcast tonight, but like taking risks with anything in life. And you might fall flat on your face. You might learn a thing or two, or you might, succeed beyond your wildest imaginations, whether, that's anything
100%. Yeah.
A move, a relationship, a career.
I know it's kind of been my like credo in life is just fucking jump in blindly. So yeah. Not always the greatest thing to do, but generally, I mean, it's got me here tonight with you guys. So
yeah, exactly right.
It's worked out. Yeah.
It is funny because this is maybe like a little off track, but I always do think about our life and I'm like, if we would have just played everything like super safe, it's kind of interesting to see where we would be. Like I can only make up a story about that, like where we would be today because I have no idea.
Fuck of a hangover today, probably.
No, but like even if still we would have changed, but not like, made the choice to move to London or then to Vancouver or even out here now. Like,
right.
Where would we be if we still lived in one spot? I don't know. And there's nothing wrong with either choice. It's just interesting to see how like.
Oh yeah, every little choice makes the biggest difference, right? Like that whole butterfly effect thing is just, I could only imagine. That's why I don't even try anymore because there's so many what ifs or what I should have done or what I did do. And it's just, go on forever.
This is just where we are now. It's almost like I feel like we can't settle down anywhere because it's like if we do, that'll just be too weird.
Yeah, we get I get stagnant. I mean, we're in Red Deer for what, 2.5 years or something like that? Well, between Sylvan and Red Deer. So even that, it was like, we should probably do something. But,
yeah, and then this came up, right? But anyways, we're just going to talk about that and when we'll be back and really kind of, what we've learned over this 25
and then
weeks.
Even what to look forward to coming out into season 2.
What we're excited for, why we're taking a break and all that kind of jazz.
Yeah, we're definitely coming back. This isn't the end of anything.
Yeah, sorry, we're coming back.
Having way too much fun doing this now. So,
but okay, so let's talk about like, I made a couple notes, but let's talk about first just kind of like what we learned. And we already touched on that was like the importance of just doing something and taking a risk. But let's elaborate on that a little bit. So why don't you share what you were talking about last night?
Oh, yeah. Even last night, a good mate of mine, he called and was trying to figure out, we've been going through some stuff together, him and I, and we're very similar in our paths almost in a lot of ways, but he's just reaching that point now where he's just like, man, I need something. I need an outlet, right? Besides work. I mean, at a certain point, once you hit a certain leadership position within a company, and you're kind of that middle management kind of person where you get a lot of pressure, but you're not really seeing a lot of the rewards of it a whole lot. And it's just like, shit, is this it? And it's kind of everything you work towards. And generally it is it. I mean, really, most people ride this. We've been really lucky. A lot of my friends we're all in that same position where we hit a position quite young, but it's almost a glass ceiling to a point.
Yeah.
And fuck, you're just there. And it's like, man, is this it for the next 30 years, 40 years? And a lot of people in just today's times are just like, they can't handle that, right? Like maybe 40 years ago, that would have been the dream position. You'd be like, okay, this is going to ride us into retirement and da 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 da. But now everyone wants more and more, which is fair, myself included. So we got talking yesterday, and he has like a whole plan for a podcast, and he's got a co-host, and he just needed some help with some of the technical stuff, which fortunately I can give now because of everything we've done. I mean, that year of making videos every week for myself was huge, and then doing this podcast with you, it keeps getting better. And I realize the things that I do know a lot more about this than I even thought I did. And I don't even know anything about it yet. So
Yeah.
right, that just shows you how much there is to know, and it just never ends, right? But
yeah.
But it was exciting, and it was awesome to hear that. Like, I'm excited for him to try something new and try something different and get out there. And I don't know a lot of people with podcasting. I mean, that's the whole thing. I want to know more people with it. I know some people that do, but I'm not like in the know, or we don't know a bunch of people in the industry or anything like that. So it's just exciting to get more people into it and find out what they have to offer, because everyone has a story, and it's so great listening to people's stories. They got to get out there and find an avenue for it. So I'm pretty jacked for that, and I'm just excited that he came to us.
Yeah.
Asking about that, right?
What did he tell you?
Yeah, like I say, we talked quite a bit, and he was just like, it was funny because he said it like a quote, and I was like, holy fuck, this blows my mind. I can't remember it really exactly, but it was something about like, you have to try, even if you fail or fall on your face, like you have to try. I can't remember exactly how it went, but.
Well, he said, I heard someone say one time that you have to try whatever you're trying to do, right? Before you fall flat on even if you fall flat on your face.
Yeah, that's what it was. And now it's like, and he's like, that was you. And it's like, holy fuck, someone actually listened to what I say. But it's amazing to hear that, and it really is exciting. I mean, yeah, he's my buddy and he's a friend, but same time, it's like, fuck, we're helping people, right? And it's amazing to do that. Especially, again, it's a story, but I always go back to it because I do have a lot of lack in that. It was just like, why would anyone listen to me? Or like, I'm just a dummy that grew up on a farm and just lucky to even be alive. So yeah, it's exciting. You really definitely put a fire under my ass a little bit, and just to be grateful of what we are, where we are right now, and where to go from here. Like, when we were trying to think of ideas today and kind of drumming up even season 2, and it's just like, fuck, this is like exciting, and there's really lots of possibilities. And I mean, like we talked about, we'll start bringing in guests and things like that, and it's just going to be just going to add even more and more value.
Right. Which is kind of funny if you start thinking about like where we were 27 weeks ago when we just started this, right? Like, we had no idea what we were doing.
No, I got to put that bitchy picture on there again.
Oh yeah. Right. For anyone
to
who
go
hasn't
from that,
listened,
right?
Yeah. If you haven't listened to the beginning episodes, go back and listen to them so you can see the growth. But it's also very funny because I think it was only the second episode.
I can't remember.
Maybe it was even the first. No, it was the first one. Because Mike was like dragging me to doing this podcast, and I was like, I have enough other things to do. And it was really cold in our basement, which is like opposite of what it is in here. It's always so hot in here. But it was so cold in our basement. It was like February or March, and I was just the bitchiest face because I'm like, I would rather be in a million other places than here right now. So it's kind of funny, I guess, because it's like,
yeah, but I mean, that's
you got to do the things you don't want to do, or that, not everything that you will be passionate about is necessarily that exciting in the beginning.
No, and that's how most things are. Yeah, like things you get drugged to, like kicking and screaming. By the end of it, you're like, holy fuck, this is the greatest thing ever.
Yeah,
right?
Yeah. The thing that you resist the most is like that thing that you need to do, right? And you already kind of hit on the mindset stuff, where I was like, what do we, like, podcasts are stupid for us because what do we even have to talk about? Like, who are we, right? So it's just interesting that your mind plays those tricks on you.
Easy, yeah.
When, we've had many downloads now, like more than we ever would have imagined we would get, right?
No.
We just had our biggest download day
last week. Was a big week.
Yeah, we hit our record, and it was like quite high, actually.
Yeah, and that's the thing, right? Because going into this, I never really had expectations or knew any numbers or anything like that. But once you start seeing it, it's like, holy shit, this is awesome.
Yeah.
And you gotta know where to where to take that or how to process it,
Yeah.
because you start looking at, because we put these videos on Facebook, right? And some are 700-800 views on Facebook, and you're like, holy shit, lots of people are listening to us, but it's like people just browsing through or stopping by to listen to how, see what you're doing, and that's it, really. So
Yeah.
those aren't real, because now it just keeps dropping off. Those videos, obviously, we're somewhere in the algorithm or pissed off Facebook somewhere, but
Yeah.
we're like, there's like 100 views on the last one, kind of thing.
Yeah.
But where the real fruit is in, there's downloads on iTunes and Stitcher and
Yeah.
Google and stuff. So that's what really matters. So don't get too caught up in social media. And I mean, there's that documentary just out where we've seen the preview for it, so we'll have to watch that. Dale was talking about it, and he watched it, and he said it's pretty interesting.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But I mean, yeah, like, who cares about likes or any of that stuff? We put it out there just so that it stays kind of top of mind for people if they do see it.
Yeah.
But it's not the be all end all.
Right?
Yeah. So if you are planning on doing a podcast or just getting started with anything, just don't take that as anything. It's not your worth. It's not the information you have, because odds are you have fucking great information. It's just the way it is. And you can't look at like a Joe Rogan or somebody and be like, oh, I'm not his level. It's like, well, fuck, man. He had billions of fans before that, like, just with fighting, right? Like, how many people just from the UFC know him, and or his comedy know him? Like, all these people that have big things, like, they had big followings before. So you can't judge yourself with any of that kind of stuff, because you'll just you'll just quit. Like, it's not worth it, right?
And it doesn't matter what you're starting, right? Like, even if you were starting a brick and mortar business, like, we talk about this a lot, because when I started my massage therapy business when I was 19, I was 19. For the first 6 months of my business, I barely had any clients, and you and I were walking door to door, like putting coupons in people's door and stuff.
Fucking
like
coupons
that, right?
and folding flyers, and like we were kicking it old school, like
That
going
was,
door to door. And I remember those
that
days.
was a long time ago.
Yeah.
Like freaking 15
I
years
just remember
ago.
walking to doors like, fuck, I hope no one's home, so I don't have to try to explain this. It's like, here, look at the coupon and carry on.
I know. And I was so scared if I like seen anyone had like a no soliciting or no flyers. I was like, oh, can't touch, like, don't leave it there. But it's funny because after doing that, I mean, by the time I quit my massage business, which would have been 6 or 7 years after that.
Yeah.
I mean, I was so busy. I was booked like weeks in advance, right?
Yeah, really easy, like 2-3 weeks of like no bookings at all, right? Or solid, solid.
Or like you couldn't get in. The odd person here and there. But yeah, so it's just really interesting because things have shifted so much. So it doesn't matter if you're starting a brick and mortar business, or if you're, starting a personal brand or a podcast or an MLM, like whatever it is, just don't compare yourself to anyone who's online, because I mean, you can buy followers, you can buy all sorts of things.
Oh man, everything's so deceiving, right? I mean, that'd be a great documentary for everyone to watch too, is just like the way they play with algorithms. And then if you can do anything with money, man. So if you got enough money, you could buy it, you'll find an agency that knows those, and you could be in front of thousands of people, right? So whatever you can do, don't compare yourself. I mean, I catch myself doing that all the time. Like, damn it, why can't this be this way? But it just is, and just keep putting out your gift, and it's gonna take. You'll find your 1,000 true fans, and that's all you really need.
And I can tell you 100% from that, because even in my brand, right, I was a part of a platform that was like, join this program and they will find you authentic followers because you want to have this many followers to look good. And I was like, oh, okay. It didn't feel right. It didn't feel right for me at all. But I was like, okay, I'll do it. And I did. I grew my followers, but now my Instagram's kind of shitty, because as far as the interaction, it used to be a lot better, but now my interaction on Instagram is kind of shitty, because now I'm screwed up in the algorithm because I have all these followers, but they're not true, authentic people, not all of them. And I'm lost in the algorithm. So I actually don't get the interaction that I used to get. And so I've actually been going through and deleting a whole bunch of them, which was a tough one on my ego, because I was like, I fell for that. And I went against my gut feeling, and I joined the platform anyways. And then second of all, like, now I'm going through and deleting these people, and now it looks bad because it's like, well, now I'm losing followers. But because now I know what I know, I'm just like, I don't give a fuck. I would rather have 50 people follow me who actually like me, and like interact with me, than thousands of followers, right? Like, it doesn't matter. So I guess just kind of going back to that whole, like, you will find your people. I found my massage people. I mean, a lot of them are actually still lifelong friends.
Mm-hmm.
And so whatever you're doing or starting, just stick to it. Don't let your mind take over, because it's a tricky little thing, that ego and that mindset.
No, well, it just wants to keep you safe, right? And
Yeah.
being out there
And
is
not make
not
you look like
safe.
a fool.
Yeah, you
Yeah.
don't want to be embarrassed. You don't want to be, yeah, you don't want to look like a fool. It
Yeah.
wants to keep you safe, and that's
Yeah.
being at home, not doing anything is safe,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
So,
But the coolest part about all of that, and especially in this now and getting more comfortable and just sharing like whatever, is that as soon as you own something, you don't look like a fool anyways. I mean, you do look like a fool, but I will laugh along with you
mhm.
versus like have you laugh at me, right?
Oh,
Like,
100%. It takes a lot to own that too.
mhm,
And like that's how it was with my drinking even. It's like,
mhm.
oh, look at you, you dummy, like passed out. It's like, yeah, I was passed out in that snowbank at 6 p.m. It's like, whatever. A lot of people do. Fucking called snowman. but yeah, as soon as you own that, it takes away any fucking power from people. It's like,
Mhm.
yeah, I'm fucking drunk. Fuck off.
Right.
Got a beer? So it is what it is, right? You just take away all that power. Like, yeah, like fuck a bully. Like, who cares, right?
Mhm.
Um, there's so many ways around that. And again, it's easy to say and it's hard to do, but once you do find that skill or use that skill, it'll help you immensely.
Mhm.
And you can just see yourself take off.
Well, and I think the more that you do something that makes you feel uncomfortable, obviously the easier it gets, but the more comfortable you just get with yourself, and you're just like, I don't care. This is me.
Hmm.
And I mean, the Laura saying this, you're probably like, who are you? I mean, not now, because now you know I'm more like that, but like 5 years ago, right? Like if you heard me sitting here say that, you'd be like, what? Because like, I don't really care. This is just me. If you don't like me, then you don't have to be my friend, right? Whereas
Hmm.
before I'd always be like, oh, I need everyone to be my friend. I need everyone to like me. Like, it must be approved by everyone. And now
Yeah.
I'm just like, if you're not digging the podcast, just unsubscribe. You don't have to listen to it. If you don't dig my Instagram, just unfollow me. You don't have to follow me. Like, I don't care. So I think that really just kind of the biggest message in all of that is, no matter what you're doing, just keep doing it, even though it feels uncomfortable.
Hmm.
It'll just get easier, and you'll be more authentic in who you are, and that's all that matters. That's what people want, right?
It is. And it takes a long time to hit that point, but we've been
Mhm.
talking about it lots this couple weeks, right? Of just, you have to do what makes you happy. And
Mhm.
this world is so fucked up, and it's like, even last week for myself, it was like I was in the Matrix, man. I couldn't
Mhm.
even make half of the shit up that was happening. Like literally, it was, yeah, I don't even want to begin to explain this because like the stories are too hard to explain, but just fucked up stuff that's happening in work and just whatever, right? With random people or strangers. And
Mhm.
um so with that, it's like it behooves you, like you have to do what makes you happy, and you
Mhm.
have to do, just fucking do whatever. Like life is way too short, and the world's too fucked up, and people are too fucked up to
Mhm.
even worry about what other people
I was gonna say,
think.
most people don't even care because
And they
they're
don't
so
care.
focused on what they're
Yeah,
doing,
and most
right?
people don't care about you. If they do care, it's because you're kind of in their way of what they thought they need to be.
Mhm.
So as soon as you get out of their way, or they whatever belittle you to make themselves feel better, then you're gone again, right? No one gives a shit. So
Mhm.
yeah, fucking, I don't know, just do what makes you happy.
Mhm.
And it's so easy to say, but um I know myself, like a lot. I have a lot of that little voice of just like, what are you doing? Don't do this. This is silly. But do it. It's a good story, and then you just carry on.
Yeah. Well, and on the topic of stories, I want to share this really quickly, because that was 2 weeks ago, I think, when we were driving out to the lake, and I shared something on my Instagram that I was like, I don't think this is going to be a popular opinion. And it was kind of off brand. It's off brand, but it's not off brand. Basically, I was talking about forced vaccinations and how I don't think that those are a good thing. Like,
Mhm.
nothing should be forced upon anybody's body. And I don't remember exactly what we were talking about, but it just felt like I needed to share this. And I was like, this is my platform. And yes, I talk about relationships and self-love and all of this, but I mean, that is self-love, right? Self-love is, I choose what I put in my body. You do not get to dictate to me what that is, right?
Mhm.
And I do get a little bit scared sometimes of this world and the fear that's so like put onto everything about this virus and everything, really any virus and any infection
Yeah.
nowadays is like, you must need a vaccination for that. You must need a medication for that. And I feel very passionate about that. because they're not talking about the other side of that stuff and the people that suffer. And I'm one of those people, one of those sensitive people who suffers from that stuff, right? And so is it for the greater good? I don't know. Why are we so sick? Why is the population so sick? Why are our kids so sick?
I know this is like the modern time when we have every possible whatever, and this is the sickest we've ever been as a population in modern times, at least anyway, or any kind of recorded history, right? So it's fucked up. It's clearly not good. I know people argue that too. They'll be like, well, life expectancy of a caveman was 25 years. And that's fair. And I do understand that and I get that. But there is a fine line between that and a fucking baby. There's fucking kids. Was that used? Someone was telling me that like in the womb, they're finding kids with like cancer and womb. Like what the fuck, man? Like, yeah. So I don't know. There's definitely something up, and it's not
well, we just live in such a toxic world.
Yeah, you're just
we'll talk
surrounded
about
by
that on another podcast one day.
Yeah, I get too fired up.
What I want to share is just how that day I was like, I think that when I share this, I'll probably get unfollows. And because that's one of the things I'm really starting to step out in a lot more too, which has been coming from me having my own platform and me doing this work on myself and shedding that layer of like, I don't need everybody to like me. And, you know, I don't have to be like perfect if you don't like what I say. And even if I say the wrong thing, I might change my mind tomorrow. Like, I'm just human.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm also like, what's going on in the world to me is a little bit scary in the direction it's headed. And I don't want people to believe that that's the only choice. Like, you have your power, and I want people to fight for their power and then to be able to make those choices for themselves. So that's why I share it on my platform. So the odd time I will share things that are a little bit scary out there, because I'm like, you know what, with light, there is dark. Like, there is darkness in the world, and we can't just be all like, ooh, kumbaya, like love and light. Like, we do need to still fight for our beliefs and our freedoms and our bodies. And so this is just funny because this was a story. I literally said out loud to you, I'm going to lose a few followers for this. And then I like put it out there. And then I ended up tagging a bunch of like accounts that I follow that I get my information from, and then do my own research from the stuff that they say, and then come to my own conclusions on what I feel is right for me and our family. And then one of those doctors like reshared it, and I ended up getting like 150 followers or something after that.
Yeah. Something like that. I remember that.
Right. Yeah. And I was like, wow, isn't this interesting that I just went from like this mindset of lack of like, oh, I'm going to lose followers for speaking the truth.
Piss so many people off.
Yeah. To I actually gained 150 followers, and maybe I did lose a few, but either way, it gained like 150 followers of people who actually are my people, right? Like they dig what I say. They have similar beliefs to me. And it doesn't go, I'm not saying that to mean that you have to have the same beliefs as me to follow me, but, you know, I do want to find my people and empower them. And so it was just a really cool twist in stories, right? And that's something I think that has come for me from podcasting really in this 25 weeks, because I have been speaking my truth a little bit more and more, but I feel like this just like coming up with stuff to just, you know, me and you just jam. Like, we don't have scripted stuff. Just
no,
talk.
You can't. That'd be the biggest thing if you're trying to do this, is like, don't try to write it out or try to figure it out. Because while you can't, for one, but if you try to read it, it'll just, it doesn't flow at all. And it just won't feel natural, and people just won't want to listen to it. I know I wouldn't want to when you're driving in the, like, to work or something like that. It just, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't. Just be yourself, because you're everyone's a fucking great person. Everyone has awesome stories, and just be yourself, and you'll find your people. 100%.
Exactly. And it's cool too, because in this, I feel for myself, I've like rewritten stories and beliefs I have, because I did always have this belief system that I tell really shitty stories. And literally one of my cousins told me that I tell shitty stories. And then it was like the joke for all of growing up that my stories were really shitty. So then always in the back of my mind, if I tell someone a story, I see their eyes like darting around or kind of like glazed over. And then right away in my head, I'm like, oh my God, my story is really shitty. And then I start stumbling on my words, and I'm like, oh my God, I've lost them. Like, my story is stupid. And I'm like, I don't even know what I was saying anymore.
Just do a cartwheel to try to bring them back.
Like, oh yeah. So I just proved that I told a shitty story. And so, and also I have always had troubles expressing my feelings and
Right.
my emotions, right? From childhood. And I think that just talking and talking and talking. So thank you guys for actually listening. But this has been very healing for me to be like, oh, to see those numbers of the downloads. And I'm
Mhm.
like, oh, that's cool. People actually obviously like listening to it if they're downloading it over and over again, right?
Yep.
So my stories can't be that shitty. So here I am just like rewriting this story without really knowing I'm rewriting this story, but just practicing doing anything that you want to redo in your life is how you do it, right?
Oh, 100%. And
Repetition.
it's only going to
So
get better. Yeah.
yeah, soon I'll be talking on stages of tens of thousands of people.
Well, you will. And it's just natural.
I
Like
don't know if I will. I don't know if I want to do that, but
ah,
I mean, it's cool to think I could if I wanted to.
when we're allowed to get tens of thousands of people back in the
Yeah.
same
Are
spot.
we ever going to be allowed to have
Rock
tens
the
of
fuck out of that
thousands?
Zoom, though.
Yeah, Zoom in front of 10,000 people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It'd be the old Tony Robbins now. His studio is nuts, eh? Like he's got like I don't even know what it is. It's a screen. Like it's, well, screens, but it's like it's shaped like a bubble almost, or like he can see
the people.
Yeah, he can
right?
see the people. It's almost like at sports games now where they have those live deals, but his is just people all around. And it's fucking pretty cool setup.
Yeah, I did see a picture of that. I mean, no, I want to connect with human beings, but I mean, that's cool.
Yeah, but I mean,
cool,
yeah,
but-
exactly, right? Just getting out there more and yeah.
Yeah. But okay, let's move on a little bit. I just wanted to share too that like really in these last 25 to 27 weeks, we've learned what you guys want to hear from us
Mhm.
because I mean, we can see the episodes, we see where the downloads aren't so high and where they are. And so that's been really cool. We wouldn't have known that if we hadn't just started. Just last week, we were talking about just take the first step. You don't need to see the whole staircase. And if we hadn't just started the podcast, I mean, let me rephrase that. If Mike hadn't drugged me downstairs with my bitchy face and made me sit on the couch and start the podcast, we wouldn't know the topics that people like or that you guys are like listening to and what you don't like listening to. Nothing is failure. It's all just like learning and failing forward, right?
Oh, 100%. You have to really give that time and let that not drag out, but let that work its course, because whenever you get excited and want to start something, you always have this thing in mind, or I know I do. I always have this, whether
Big
it's
expectation.
yeah, and whether it was like launching a pod or launching videos or launching a website or something like that. Like I feel like I had everything into it. We would do all this stuff into this website and just like, okay, as soon as we hit launch, it's gonna blow up.
Yeah.
And you're like, hit launch and it's sitting there and like, they're coming. I know they're coming. But it's just, it doesn't, right? So you got to know that you got to set your expectations fairly low. I mean, that's shitty to say, but I mean, always have them high. But you just got to be realistic with it and do it. And it's like everything, it's a fucking long game. You can't just jump.
It's a relationship.
It is. And you can't just jump in. You probably got gold. Most people probably have better stuff than Tony Robbins, but it's a long game and you got to be in it. Like
stay consistent.
You have to stay consistent. But I mean, it's tough. And I know when you put so much thought into something and you really put it in the work, and then you hit send or you hit whatever, publish, and it just gets crickets. Where's crickets? Yes.
You could also just step outside here. There's so many crickets outside.
That's true too. But yeah, like I mean, it's so hard on your system, and you just and you see all these people around. You're like, how are they doing it? And you're putting stuff out and you're like, damn it, mine's better, but no one's listening. And it's just, you have to just stay the course. I learned that even just selling cars, right? It's a quick, it's not a quick game. Like you have to, it's a long game for sure.
So if you're already wavering in your own conviction of yourself, then don't start something like this.
Yeah. Or you do, but just know that, it's going to take time and you're going to learn some really hard lessons and some really hard, but they're going to be great skills if you can come out on the other side of it.
Yeah. Exactly.
But yeah, just know that that's probably the biggest heartache. But I mean, I could have told you that years ago. Remember when we first launched LaRocque Life? Like we spent all this money on a website and did all these things and like got business cards, were legit. And it's just, that was expectations like way up here, thinking that it was just going to be this fly off the handle once we got a live running website. And it was like, no.
Yeah, we had a live website, but we didn't have like
No, you need to follow.
value.
Yeah,
We
you
didn't have
didn't.
any content. Like, why
No,
would anyone trust us? Why would anyone even want to follow us? Right. Like,
exactly. But
but
you forget all that stuff.
mhm.
You're only thinking of the stuff right in front of you, right? But
Yeah, and that's why I always say, like, oh, they were an overnight success. Well, no, no one was an overnight success. They were having those crickets and putting in all that time and creating the value and creating the content. And then suddenly something went viral, and then all of a sudden,
yeah,
now they're big time,
and you
right?
wonder, like everyone always wonders, like how do they get all these skills to know that? It's because like they fucking most people suffered through a lot of
Hmm.
stuff to try to figure out what was right and wrong, and then they finally got it.
Yeah, and that's the same with anything in life, right? Like
Yeah.
anything you're struggling through, it is going to be your biggest blessing because, like, if you choose to come through it,
Hmm.
right? If you choose to move through it because
Yeah.
you have the experience and you learn so much and you probably do have to research different things and you do become very knowledgeable, but also like you have the feeling of it, right? So
Hmm.
yeah, it's just keep going, right?
Yeah, and you know it won't kill you. Like I mean,
Hmm.
putting out a blog post or making a video and having no one watch it or no comments or no likes or no whatever, and you know,
Hmm.
you live to fight another day and you make another
Yeah.
video the next week, right? So
Yeah, because you just can't base your worth on it. Like it
mm-mm.
is literally just numbers. Like
It's numbers and you
it's
don't even know who the fuck's looking. Cause like I said before, like with all that algorithm stuff, like if you didn't put up big dollars and pay for sponsored ads or boosts and all these different things, it's like, well, you're probably just gonna fall into the well of the sea of thousands and
mhm,
thousands of people, right? So there's so much more to it than just the info that you're putting out or your worth. Like definitely don't, like you said, put your worth to it.
mhm.
It's not there
Yeah,
at all.
everything takes time and consistency, right?
Hmm.
And then just kind of the last point that I had written out was, we are excited about where we're moving to, but it was almost like we felt like we needed to have this break and this pause between like where we're moving forward into and like this learning phase. So it was like, we're on episode 25. Let's have season 1 and then we'll come back season 2 like really fresh, but also to avoid burnout, like anything in life, whether it is your business, your relationship, like day-to-day operations, you need to have that flow between like the feminine and the masculine of like having structure and having goals and getting stuff done, but then also knowing when to come back and receive and relax and nourish and nurture yourself, right?
Oh, big time.
And that's where I feel like we're going here. We're going to come back in 4 to 6 weeks, but right now it's like we need to just take a step back and recreate our goals, feel into what this looks like. How do we want this moving
Yeah. And
forward?
celebrate these wins too, right? Take
Yeah,
time to celebrate the
celebrate.
wins.
Yeah, exactly. And I mean, to be completely honest with you guys, like we are sitting here usually the night before. We need to get this to our assistant to take some quotes out and listen through it, and Mike's uploading it and getting it posted. We're usually doing that like 10 o'clock the night before it goes out.
And
So
depending how the old fucking iMac wants to render, could be an hour, could be 4 hours. You just don't know, right?
yeah, and we don't want to be like that moving forward because that's more stressful. Like we're moving our life more into systems and simplifying, right? So that we do have more time to just go out and enjoy life. But it
Hmm.
doesn't have to be like that right off the bat. So I mean, the past 27 weeks, that's how we've been rolling. Sometimes we're a little bit in advance, but not always. And we don't want to do that anymore. So this is where we get to come back and be like, okay, what worked? What didn't work? What are we changing?
Yeah.
And so we will still be recording podcast episodes over the next 4 to 6 weeks, probably, but we're going to build up our bank, right? So that we like have a full season set out because we missed 2 weeks when I got sick,
Yeah, exactly. And then
right?
if that happens or whatever, if we want to take a holiday, we
Hmm.
don't have to, yeah, you're just not obligated to do that. I did that too. It's definitely a skill that both of us need to work on because I was doing the same thing with when I did a year straight of videos every Thursday of, it turned out for for a while there, I was doing really well of, definitely had a couple days buffer.
Hmm.
And then fuck, like in the middle near the end, it was just like, holy God, like this is that day or that
Yeah.
hour of doing it. Right.
Yeah.
So, and it just puts so much stress and you're just not having fun with it. Or
Well,
I
that's
wasn't
the
having fun with
thing.
it.
If you do leave things to the last minute, and I wouldn't say that that's how our episodes have been. There's been the odd night, right, where we're like, let's just not do it.
Yeah.
But we're like, no, we have to do it because we've left it to the last night. And then usually as soon as we start talking, we're like, yeah, no, we're good.
Hmm.
But it does put so much pressure and it steals your creativity too, right? And it
100%
steals,
saps you of everything.
yeah. And you guys might even notice there is a few episodes if you go back where you're just like, what was their point? Or like,
Yeah, you probably see at the start anyway, and like our
mhm.
faces, it's like fuck. But then once you get into it, then you just start rolling and you get that energy. But 100%, it steals creativity left, right, and center.
Yeah. And so that's where we're wanting to move forward to in episode 2 as well, is like being more organized and also acting upon inspiration and in that creativity so that we can come with higher energy
Yeah,
and
a little more
you get to
structure to
feel
it.
that. Yeah. And probably keep them shorter. I think we need to make the episode shorter and more like straight to the point.
Yep.
But again, all things that we would have never known had we not done it. So
No, and if you can do this straight out of the gate, like fucking perfect radio voice and perfect microphone, like we're constantly learning, microphone technique of
Mike's constantly learning.
there you go. Like you have
Okay.
to stay close and you have to do certain things. Like we put pop filters on today because we noticed some other stuff from the last episode. And if you're not talking on the angle to it. And so there's all these fucking things that you if you hit that on the first try, then like awesome. You're great.
Well, and the other thing is if you're so perfect right off the first try, like in anything in life, what's the point?
Yeah, that's true.
Right?
Yeah,
We do things.
you need that.
You just explained how you and your buddy, you reach the glass ceiling in your business and then you're in your job, but then you want to do something on the side to bring you that creativity and that growth, right? Like we crave growth as humans. And if we don't have that, then it's usually our when we're anxious and depressed and just like not loving life. So, I mean, if you just came and did something like a podcast and you were perfect at it right off the bat, like what's the point?
Oh man. Yeah.
Right? You hit your glass ceiling.
You'd be fucking amazing if you could do that.
Yeah.
Man. I want to know your secrets if you do.
So no matter what you start, whether it's a hobby or a sport or a podcast or a business, like expect to suck at it.
Oh,
and it's
man.
good you suck at it.
Yeah, that's jujitsu to a T, hey? Like you think you're a tough guy and you go in there and you go against this like just this nerdy. Most guys are in jujitsu because they're very like logical thinker, like crazy mind games, right? So you're going in there and you're like, look at this nerdy fucker. And then 2 seconds later, you're like tied up like a pretzel. You're like, what just happened? Which one of you fucking hit me? I just like feel like Chris Tucker. Which one of y'all kicked me? Because like these guys are just fucking stone cold killers, and it's so funny. And it's if you watch any videos on it, and people talk about it left, right, and center, but it's the most humbling thing in the world. Like just a skinny like 16-year-old kid just throwing you in the retarded freaking chokehold, and you can't do anything about it. You think you're so big and strong, or you think you're so whatever. It just makes you feel like that big. So
and that's what's good about putting yourself in any situation, right? That it's uncomfortable and your ego is like taking a huge hit, but you're gonna come out of it so much stronger. And that's exactly what this has been.
And that's just like your problems, right? You hit them face on, and if it beats you down, so be it. But you're just gonna be that much stronger coming out of it, and people won't be able to use it as ammunition against you. It's like, fuck yeah, I own that. And then carry on like that 16-year-old kid but you go try and fight him. We'll see what happens to you. So I mean, it's just it's awesome. It's so liberating because you just don't give a fuck about what anyone thinks anymore, and it's huge. And then that's the oxymoron to it too, because everyone that I look up to or anyone that I've had really good conversations with is they've hit that point where they don't give a fuck. But that's what draws me to them. Like they have a certain magnetism of like, holy shit, you really just don't. It's not even like you don't care, but it's just you hit a point where you're just so comfortable in yourself that you're just spitting out whatever the hell comes in your head, and it's just like, man, I want more and more of what this guy has, because you're not worried about, you're not worried about the outcome, or that person's not worrying about what that next person, well, seemingly doesn't worry about what they think of them. So it makes you more just more attractive. And then again, with just going back, even with relationships, right? You get that, like for women, it's just your radiance is just out there. If you just let that guard down a little bit and just let yourself be, and it's like, holy cow, it's amazing to watch women in their radiance.
Well, and I think the cool thing about that is kind of taking a bit of a twist, but women in their radiance is their true authentic self, right? Like it's who you are, but we cover it up so much like over the years, right? Like we put up protection barriers and blocks, and we don't even
say what they want to, like, don't say what you want to say. Don't act how you want to act. Like, it sucks. Don't even walk how you really want to walk. Some women,
well,
right?
And the thing is that you don't even know. So I'd be like, okay, well, that's easy. I'll just be me. but then you're like, well, shit, who am I? It's almost like you need to relearn who you are, but not really relearn, but just peel back the layers, right? And connect back into who you are. You don't need to fix anything, or, you know, you're not broken. It's just a matter of like tapping back into the who are you as a kid. And you look at kids, right? Like they're so playful and fun. And this is actually a really cute story that I wanted to share, because Mike and I want to talk about seasons a little bit too, where I feel like we always have seasons of life. We have seasons in relationships. We go through seasons ourselves where like we do feel like there are months or days or weeks where it's like, I am meant to be, you know, like planting seeds and then, you know, reaping the harvest and doing all that. Whereas I feel like we're going into a season here right now where we're going to go like gather information and gather knowledge. We're taking a few courses. We're taking a step back, right, from this so that we can put our energy into something else.
Yep.
And then we will come back to this season again of, you know, planting more seeds and putting more stuff out there and sharing our knowledge. But we're going to be creating some stuff moving forward. And we're talking about it this morning at breakfast. And it's just so cute how Lennox is like paying such close attention, right? And we were just talking about something we're going to create for men and something we're going to create for women. And then Lennox was like, yeah, Dad, create this for men. And then he's like, Mom, create this for women. He's like, and I create for kids. I was like, oh my goodness, what are you going to create for kids? What are you going to teach kids? And he's like, to play. And so I was like, that is so cute and so true, right? Like, I think that maybe Lennox should just make a program for all of the adults.
Oh man, you learned so much from that guy.
Right? Which is just like, kids should teach adults how to play and how to just freaking be free and be who they are and like not stress all the things, right? Like just be carefree and wild. But it was really cute. And then he had also said tonight, because we're like, hey, Lennox, you need to go to bed because we need to do our podcast. And he's like, you doing a podcast tonight? I didn't know it was podcast. What night is it? And I was like, it's Sunday. And he's like, oh, I didn't know that. And then so we were bugging him because we're like, soon you can join our podcast. And he agreed. So who knows? Maybe season 2 we'll have a guest speaker.
You never know, man. It's just, it's so amazing, that little dude.
It's just cute to see how he's like growing in the business with us as well, right? And he wants to be a part of it. And we used to have like conversations at the table where we'd be like, just us talking about it, right? But he's like, what are you talking about? Who's that? What's this? And
now he's
like,
in it.
Oh, like you want to actually know what we're talking about, because we used to be able to just say something to kind of fluff it off or like change the subject. But he's like, no, like I want to know like what's going on with the podcast.
Yeah, now he's because he's 3.5. Well, he's almost 4, right? Well, 4 in near Christmas, and like it's not just like, okay, buddy, and then carries on. To, like you can't just slough off anymore. Now it's like, no, I want to know what the hell's going on.
Explain it to me. Yeah, so that's cute.
Yeah, so you can't just do that, and that's what he does with talking. Right before it used to be like he would say something, and you're just like, oh yeah. But now he doesn't do it to me so often, but he does it to you, right? Like, Mom, what did I say?
Yeah, he's like, Mom, what did I say? And I'm like, oh shit.
Yeah. So yeah, it's amazing.
But yeah, okay. So you want to wrap this up? You got anything else to say?
Let's do it. No, I just extremely grateful for everyone that listens, everyone that downloads it. If you have any friends that you can kick this to, definitely we got that whole back catalog of episodes now that people can go back to and listen to. And if anyone has any questions, it made me feel good and it really lifted me up. And I mean, I do that time to time, but just to have someone reach out and really get into it and about, starting their own thing. And it brought me, it just felt fucking awesome. And it kind of brought this all to, that was the payoff, or it made it all worth it. Right. I mean, it's always been good and it's always ongoing, but that really felt good to get that. And that somebody cared enough to reach out and ask us about it. Right. So, if you got anybody out there that needs any help, just let us know or reach out in any kind of way. And I mean, again, just extremely grateful for people sticking around and just hanging in there with our growth. Like, I mean, it's just, you can see the progression with everything. Even if you went back years ago to our London, like our very first video with London, right? Like it was a camera with like using that microphone and like the worst echoey room ever and just everything, right? So
and like a teleprompter.
Oh man, we tried everything. Tried to write notes on whiteboards. That didn't work.
And then I was like wearing a blazer.
Yeah.
And now you just get my like hiking clothes.
Yeah, exactly, right? Got our hiking gear on.
This is real.
So it's a progression, and you're gonna learn, you're gonna get better, but you just have to keep doing it. And
Hmm.
I think that's kind of the golden lesson in all this, to just kind of keep going.
Yeah.
But
But
that's
yeah,
what I
I
got.
mean, it, from the bottom of our heart, like, thank you for listening.
Hmm.
Like, you guys give us the life to keep recording, right? So thank you for that. And thank you for the messages. Thank you for, reaching out and sharing that something touched your life, because we get those messages where, like, someone will say, like, what you said taught me this with my partner, or this, like, I took this and I did that with it. Right. And
Hmm.
so it's really, really cool to see people actually learning from us, or not even learning, just resonating with our story. And that's what
Yeah.
we really want, right? That's why we're an open book, because it's just like, just go do something, right? Life's too
Yeah.
short.
And to
Like,
show people you're not alone, because
mhm.
like everyone thinks you're alone in these problems. Like it's such a unique problem. But I
Yeah.
mean, fuck, there's even in marriages, there's like a dozen problems
Oh, there's always, and I mean,
generally,
there
right?
should
But
be, because you're human. We're all human.
yeah,
Like, we have disagreements, or we have things, but it's how you move through them, right?
yeah,
It's how you communicate, and how you respect each other, and how you evolve together, right? Doesn't mean that things don't happen, or that things don't come up. So we'll continue being real and honest about that too.
oh, absolutely. I don't think that'll ever. Well, it just won't. It'll never
No,
change.
it'll
And
probably just get even more and more and more real,
yeah,
right?
well, it helps, to be honest. Some of it doesn't let things fester either,
Mhm.
right? We get it out. We air some of our laundry right in front of everybody else. So I mean, don't really suggest that right off the start, maybe, but um, everything it's fucking open book, and it's way easier that way. I mean,
Mhm.
life's hard enough, and there's enough stuff from the outside getting you, that you don't need that on the inside of your team at home, right? You don't need to have that chaos on top of chaos outside of that.
Mhm.
So
Yeah, kind of just creating that safety net at home.
it really is. That's
Mhm.
probably the biggest thing, is just having that safety net, having that team at home, knowing that you can rely on them no matter what.
Mhm.
And again, it doesn't being on a team isn't all rainbows and butterflies,
Mhm.
but you just have each other's back no matter what.
Yeah.
Big difference in life once you
Yeah.
have that.
Totally. So, yeah, we just wanted to end with saying thank you, and invite you to leave a review if you never have. That
Hmm.
does definitely help us. So on iTunes, or if you want to leave a review on our Facebook page, even, or if you listen on Spotify, you can leave reviews on there too,
Oh
right?
yeah, Spotify, Stitcher,
Yeah. So
Google, all that stuff.
wherever you're listening from, just like, if you want to take 2 seconds and just leave us a review and let us know what you like about listening to this. I mean, we would really appreciate that. And then we'll take it moving forward. Cause like Mike said, we're going to have guest guest speakers in the future. And also too, if you are a couple, or couples, and I mean, it doesn't even need to be specifically couples, but like anything around relationships, adventure, and freedom, if you want to be hosted on our podcast, I mean, connect with us. Like, we're definitely expanding and going to be doing things different. So shoot us a message and let's collaborate. Let's do something.
Yeah, big time. And then I
Yeah.
mean, season two, we'll talk more on the freedom side of things too. We'll get more into the business side of things, which we didn't really touch on a whole lot this year. Hey, there's a one or two episodes kind of
Yeah, a little bit, but we'll
glazing
get more
over.
into, yeah, like even money mindset, and
Hmm.
just, ideas and beliefs around that. But we're going to be creating some programs and different workshops and different things like that. And that's what we're going to be doing over the next 4 to 6 weeks on our break. So yeah, definitely do that. And I will just leave this with you ladies as well, because we did talk about it a little bit last week, but just for the next 2 weeks, I have space open. Or, well, basically, the timeline is 2 weeks until the spaces fill, of my new program that I just launched for women.
Yeah.
And it's a 3 month, so 12-week, and it's called Reignited Relationships. But basically, what I'm doing is a small, very intimate, small 10 women group coaching program, where I'm walking this group through my modules that I use with my one-to-one clients. So it's like a mind, body, and soul experience, not just like, here, learn, here's knowledge. It's like, we're actually going to be doing it together, step by step, week by week, and implementing it into your life. And it's going back to what we kind of talked about tonight, about just like peeling back those layers of like, who am I? Like, who am I authentically? And like taking down those barriers and those walls, and really just like being a freaking human, like screwing up, having fun,
Yeah.
like failing forward, right? But just like having fun doing it, and being a human, just like, yeah, growing in your relationship and really tapping into your feminine energy, which is always changing and fluid and movement. So,
Yeah. Big
as I said, that we are starting on September 29th. So there is the next couple weeks to jump in unless the 10 spaces are filled before that. So, I mean, if it is something, you can go to just go to my Instagram and my bio. There's a link on there that will take you to all of the information you need to know, and you can apply for the group there.
Yeah. Okay. Awesome. And then, I mean, where can people find you otherwise?
Well, everything's on my website, lauralrocque.com. You can follow me on Instagram there, Facebook on there, get the love collection there, which is ever growing and expanding these days.
Yeah.
And or just Laura LaRocque, Instagram, Facebook, and then follow us, LaRocque Life, on Instagram and Facebook. And even though we won't be doing podcasts for the next 4 to 6 weeks, we will still keep you posted on, previous episodes and bring those forward again, but also just like adventures and what we're up to and what's going on. And we'll give you sneak peeks on what's coming.
Yeah, 100%. Absolutely. And I mean, obviously, if anyone has anything, just reach out. You can reach out on any of those platforms and we'll definitely get to you. But
yeah, I mean, 100% we are still here. So
okay, awesome. Well, this is great, and we'll see you guys in a little while. So I love you. Thanks for listening.
Yeah, thanks, guys. We'll see you at season 2.